Oh, your music has gone. Oh, I thought the music might still be playing.
Can you guys hear this? Tell us.
If you can't, then I'm just doing this.
Like we're just. Is this still a thing? Can you hear this? Can you hear our music?
Somebody please tell us.
Yay!
Yay! Woo!
Yeah! Guys, I'm playing around with a stream deck today. Prepare yourself for some shenanigans.
Wait, why have I been signed out? I've just been signed out of my notes today.
I'll turn it down just a bit. I'm kind of messing with some stuff in the background. We're going to be experimenting with you guys.
I'm messing with my notes because I've just been
turning it
signed
down.
out. My show prep. This is the chill vibes of Captain
How's that?
Picard.
Here we go.
Louder.
Hello. So what point did Charm get substituted for asshole on the Sins team? Yeah, right. That's a good one. It's a good line.
There it is.
It's a good line. We are all dipshits today. It's gonna be a fun one, guys. I am so excited to talk about this episode. I can't even fucking. I can't even handle it. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't even handle it. Oh no, it didn't work. Oh, here we go. I can't even handle it. There we go. See, look.
Can't even handle it.
I can't even handle it.
Oh, JCD, what's happened? Meanwhile, I'm laid up like Shaw today. Pulled the hell out of my back and slipping and falling out. Oh, I'm so sorry. I should not be laughing.
You should.
He fell down on the ice.
That's not something that you're supposed to laugh at, dude.
Fucking funny.
It's not fucking funny.
Sorry, at some point my charm was substituted for being an asshole. Hello, Paulie, Nick, Link, Lloydie, Rima, 78, Tra, Plot King, 75, Josh Zero, anyone else that I didn't mention, Flyboy, 65, C, the third in the running. C would be the fourth ship. Yeah,
laid
got
up
the
like
original
Shaw.
and A, B, and C. Yeah.
Laid up like Shaw, bitch.
Laid up like Shaw.
Man. I'm just totally into SoundCloud over here.
You're totally messing around with like.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to.
Something new.
I'm trying to. So this one's called Crunchy. I don't know why, but I'm trying to like make sure that.
Maybe it's not running.
I'm trying to like move it over to where I can find it again.
Okay. Oh yeah. I know what you mean. I get your drizzle. Yes.
And then after I do that, I was gonna find some other like voice, like some other sound bites that I can use because I found some like, I don't know, some like space sounding stuff.
Do it. Give me some torpedoes.
Well, I want to, but
Ambassador, fire torpedoes.
Okay. Torpedoes.
Fire now! Fire everything! Fire them!
That's
anytime today. We didn't hear anything. Did you fire the silent torpedoes?
You didn't hear that?
No.
You don't hear that?
Nope.
So maybe it's you can't hear the sound clips. You can only hear music? Fuck. Well, I mean, guys, listen, it's every day is a new day. It's an opportunity for
experimentation.
Can you hear that?
That was something.
Okay. It's just a little, I'm just testing some stuff out. Like I don't know why. You know? Does that make sense?
It sounded like the torpedo was scraping against something.
No, it's saying sup. Like what's up? What's up?
Sup.
Yeah.
Sup the whack PlayStation sup.
Here's a nuke alert.
That's terrifying.
It's awful. It's really scary. I don't like it. Yeah, I was gonna have to. Oh, here's one. That's a burp right there.
Yeah, but I get enough of that anyway. You just burp on command. I bet you could burp right now.
I can't burp on command.
Can you not? Oh.
No. Can you burp on command?
Deny. You just asked the person who medically can't burp if they can burp on command. Dick move.
I'm so sorry.
Dick move.
Shit. God.
Fans of Behind the Sins will understand that. Yeah, you fall away into the background.
Oh God.
Wow.
I'm sorry. This is very personal.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. God damn it.
Podcast, this has been mentioned. Wow. For those that do not know,
Oh, fuck.
Danae's best friend wondered why I never burped, and he thought it was a politeness thing because I'm English. And I said, no, it's not. I've never been able to burp. Some people just can't burp. And he was like, no, it's not. Everyone burps. It's not just a some people thing. And this led him down a rabbit hole because he likes to research things. And it seems like I have a condition where a muscle has not developed enough, and it prevents me from forcing out air in a way that creates burp, which creates very painful inside things and throat things and chronic hiccups. So yeah,
I'm so sorry. I did not
Thanks,
mean to
Danae.
be insensitive. I am sorry. I'm a bad friend. I apologize.
Get off my ship.
Oh no, man. I feel like shit. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Right. This is very chill. This is like massage parlor stuff.
I'm trying to like make the mood a little bit more gentle.
I mean, stop being insensitive about my condition.
I'm sorry. I forgot momentarily. It was bad. I'm
It's fine.
sorry.
We all fuck up.
bad.
We all fuck up. It's fine. Just a dipshit from
Turn the
Missouri.
music all the way up to drown you out.
Oh, I'm sure that's not annoying for anyone watching the stream.
I apologize. Get off my shit.
Get off my shit. Shit.
Okay. Well, shall we like jump into our
Oh,
show?
we need
I'm
to.
really excited about
So
this.
excited to talk about this episode.
So for those of you guys who are
So
joining
good.
us live, maybe for the first time, just to let you guys know, we are... Oh, actually, hey, have you updated our tags and stuff? Do you want to update tags while I do this?
No? What, on Twitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally do that. 100%.
Do you want me to do it? I can.
No, I can do that. You do the vamping thing, and I'll do the...
Okay. I'm going to find some music. I'm
doing that right now. Wait, I thought you were explaining the show thing.
No. I'm going to find some good explain the show music.
Nice.
No. Gosh, that
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna stop fucking around with stuff.
Star Trek.
So we record with you guys live. While we record the official part of the show, we do not directly, most of the time, bring up the comments that you guys are having during the show. So we know you're obviously going to be reacting to the things that we're talking about. We do pin some of those comments and then come back to them at the end of the show where we kind of have a chance to like get more into the outtakes part. But while we're actually in the show proper, we try to avoid talking directly to chat because it just makes the editing process of the actual podcast easier later.
Yeah.
So, did you see this?
Oh, well done, Josh. There seems to be a huge space on the third shelf behind Ian. What might go there, I wonder? Now, Josh, well done. When you get to the outtakes of the show for the week, we made an agreement that we would not address said gap unless the chat mentioned it. So, hey, now we're going to address it. So, really brief explanation is that I had a plumber visit the other day, and long story short, they had to look out that window. There's a window
Sorry.
over there, and to check a pipe or something like an exhaust thing, and he knocked over my ship. I want the little Mario dying thing. Wah.
It sucks because nobody in the podcast gets to hear that.
I can.
This is live show only.
No, I think that'll be in the StreamYard file. I've just got to download
we'll
third
see.
track and slip that in. So, yeah. However, here's the funny part, honey. Now, a bit loud. The funny part is that he didn't acknowledge it. He knocked over my ship, and he didn't acknowledge that anything had happened at all. Like clang, 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 and nothing. Exactly. Not a thing. So I haven't looked.
He hasn't even looked, guys.
I haven't checked. I've just ignored it.
I did not mean to do that one.
This is Schrodinger's starship. So it's the Equinox, and Eagle Moss are out of business at the minute. Yes, another company is going to be taking over the models and selling them and whatnot. But I have no idea if I'll ever be able to get the Equinox again. So we decided that we would wait until the live show, and if anybody notices it live in front of everybody, I will find the ship and the stand and see if it's broken. So you can watch live to see my reaction to my little ship getting broken. It's kind of, I think that was kind of fitting. That kind of worked.
This is him walking over. Yeah, this is live. This is live. This is all live. This is happening. I'm really nervous right now for Ian. Oh, a drum roll. Great idea. Okay, hold on. Drum roll. There's got to be a drum roll. Can you guys hear this? Nope. It's weird because the way I'm still trying to figure this out. I don't really have fun stuff set up.
Back yet?
Yeah, you can come back. I mean, there's no. He's got the item.
Okay. First things first. The stand is in 2 pieces, but that's okay. It's meant to be. It seems to be all right. Stand is okay. These are the hardest things to find.
That says victory, so I thought that was a good time to play the little victory thing.
Now, the ship.
Oh, no, stop. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think it's okay. Success!
Yay!
I think it's
been
okay.
waiting for this since we started the show like an hour and a half ago.
Fuck yeah.
I've been so worried.
It's okay. I think it survived. It's a tough little ship. How pretty is this ship, Danae? Don't you just love it? The Equinox.
It's so pretty.
It's
We're
so
all
great.
Check the windshields.
The windshields?
Yeah, that's what it says. Druid Bean's helping us.
Oh.
Check the windshields.
Windshields are intact.
Okay.
We're looking
They're at
good.
full capacity. We have so much happiness happening right now. This is exciting.
Woo! One of my criticisms of this model.
That's fun.
It's probably the reason that it survived. So this is good. The
boys, you gotta do that right now. But boys. Sorry.
The front of the ship is like solid. However, the nacelles are like this bendy plastic.
It's bendy.
So I was really annoyed when I got this model because I was like, "That's the Enterprise D is like solid, and my other ships are solid, but this one, it's less so, and I think that's why it survived."
This is good.
So,
ooh. Is this one? Wow,
this is going on for a long time.
That was the ship falling off of.
Oh
no! And then I did this. It's a bounce. oh, here's Sad Trumpet.
Okay, so the Equinox gets pride of place today.
It was the USS Bendinox.
Yes, Bendinox.
Yeah.
So the ship is fine.
I totally thought that those pops were on the floor in front of the shelves. No, that's another desk. He has like an L-shaped desk.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a wraparound desk thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm gonna put away my fun and things because they're gonna distract me for way longer time than we actually have. The dogs have arrived. The show can begin. Thank you guys so much for being here for the live taping of Captain's Pod. there anything else that we need to talk about? I think we already did the things that we normally do. So this is going to be obviously spoilers for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 4. We will pin your comments during the show. But, Captain, we're ready.
Let's do it. Oh, intro. Haha. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched. Most important question first. What's your beverage of choice?
I'm just gonna say the first thing that comes to mind, and I know that I'm judged for it, and I appreciate everyone's. It's just space amniotic fluid.
Oh, nay.
It's the first thing that popped into my mind. I keep forgetting to think about this. It should be Picard's wine. The wine was in this episode. I should say wine. Picard. I just thought about it now. I didn't think about it earlier.
Glass of Chateau Picard.
I have to go off of instinct.
Yeah, follow that instinct. It's much more entertaining.
So so gross.
I will drink anything other than Jameson's because, unlike Jack Crusher, I do not like cheap whiskies. But yes, if you thought you weren't prepared for the beverage of choice, give us the plot synopsis.
Oh shit!
1 week. 1 week.
God. Okay. In this episode of Picard, we find out that this gravity well is actually a birth canal. And by the end of the episode, everyone is asking, am I going to be covered in goopy birth juice today? Doesn't matter. It'll burn off and warp. Also, we discovered that Ian's prediction about the bad guys saving the good guys almost came true. Shaw, still alive, still a dick. And potentially the most important part of this episode is that Star Trek reveals that, by golly, they can make our favorite characters curse. And they just go all out with the mention of cannabis, asshole, dickhead, fuckwad,
dipshit,
turtlebutt, dipshit. Yeah, all kinds of things happen here. Are they going to die? Probably someday, but not this episode. That's it.
Great. Perfect. Great synopsis. Ambassador. Thoughts and feelings on this week's episode. Reaction.
I'm still trying to understand if I covered everything in my forgot about again synopsis. Okay.
Oh, you forgot to mention Worf and Raffi.
Oh, thank God. That's why I like this episode so much. They weren't in it. Oh, now it's all making sense now.
You dick.
No, if we were cutting away to Worf and Raffi in this episode, I would have felt it because
I think that's
this
smart,
had so much going on. There's no place for that. I'm glad that they focused on the main story.
The tension was on point. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the only things I didn't really cover in the synopsis was that the goopy guy is still on the loose. Technically. No, Goopy Guy's dead.
What? Goopy Guy died. Goopy died super
definitely
dead.
She charged up the phaser a little bit more this time.
Yeah.
And Seven killed her friend, which is cool. The face of her friend. I think that's the only thing I don't think we covered very well.
No, I think you got it all. They were in the nebula. Nebula is a baby. The contractions push out the Titan.
Overall thoughts and feelings. I enjoyed this episode. I think I liked it because we stayed inside the ship a little bit and I wasn't kind of being pulled out and about. But at the same time, I was also being pulled out and about in odd ways. Like we still cut back and forth to different parts of the ship, sometimes in my opinion, sinful ways. And I'll get to that at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really needed to solve this problem. And I thought that they did some interesting stuff to solve that problem. I don't think that any of us thought that they were actually going to let this crew die, although I've joked about it many, many times. Yeah, so the question was always, how are they going to get out of it? And choosing to have the crew use their years of expertise and their togetherness and their wits and their stuff like this, like that was fun. It was fun to kind of watch, them solve the problem in that unique way that Star Trek solves problems.
Very TNG solution.
I don't know what happens after this is clearly like the end to this part, because this is sort of how everything started, right? Like,
yeah,
Beverly and Jack were in trouble. Picard and Riker essentially stole a shuttle, grabbed a ship, left. Like they've been doing a lot of stuff. So now it's them returning back to, potentially, I mean, if everything, who knows what they're going to do next, but they have this chance now to shift from what they are doing into the next, which of course is going to involve following the crumb trail or goop trail to figure out how this changeling was on the ship prior to even coming across Jack. And I think that's the only tie that we potentially have for where they're going to go next, is what was really happening, on the ship. I thought it was also interesting this episode that they really let Shaw go unhinged. So I'm curious where they're going to take that. But yeah, overall thoughts and feelings, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this episode quite a lot.
Me too.
Actually.
I really, really loved it. You could say it's an episode of 2 parts where you have like a lot of exposition of Picard and Jack reconnecting, or connecting, really. Shaw giving away why he hates the admirals. So Admiral and Captain. Riker and Picard reconciling a bit, Riker dealing with some demons, and then shifting into the solution to the problem and a classic TNG, get us out of here, do something bonkers, dismantle part of the ship, save the day, and then Space Wonder is how we end the episode. But it was incredible. This had one of my it is immediately in the top 10, probably top 5 visuals of all time Star Trek, other franchises, anywhere. This episode was beautiful. There was like so many cool shots and cool special effects in this episode. It just gave me all of the Star Trek warm fuzzies. I love it. Like, it was a great, if we had more of a setup in the beginning, this could have been a great standalone episode of TNG where we have this problem, the solution, and then how they get out of it. We had conference table planning shenanigans that I absolutely loved, but the kind of the crux of the episode that I love so much was the writing. Again, it's written so well, and the themes that go through the episode are super duper powerful. It's dealing with what could be cliche topics, but in a non-cliche way. So there's some really original ways of getting through some of these thought patterns and some of these relationships that we've seen before. There's just some really emotional beats that really hit home with me, and then went straight into popcorn. I love TNG. So yeah, it really just continues to be a really, really, really strong season.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job of developing some characters, figuring out how they all tie together. And there were so many moments in this episode where I was like, man, I'm really feeling the emotion that this actor is giving this character right now.
Yeah,
Jack,
especially Riker.
Jack, Riker, Shaw, they had some really deep moments in this episode. The hatred in Shaw's eyes toward Picard was intense, and I believed it. I believe this character is just, he's an asshole. He's an asshole in charge. And that's a powerful type of a character to just latch onto, this unapologetic person. He does apologize in a very backhanded way. He's like, sorry guys, I don't remember the quote. But
at some point, I substituted charm with being an asshole, or being an asshole replaced my charm.
Yeah. Forgive me. At some point, asshole became a substitute for charm, which I thought was really clever. But, so he's really confidently himself. You have Riker wrestling with revealing the mystery of why did he leave Deanna? And then they give it a name. She was really bothered by his lack of emotion, which, I mean, I don't know, as an empath, wouldn't it be kind of a nice break to have somebody who can just not be giving off emotion? I don't know.
I think it might be worrying when that lack of emotion comes from your dead son.
Yes. Okay. But that's how some people grieve. And I also thought that was a really good thing for the episode to hit on a bit, is that people grieve differently. And, they have Riker kind of apologizing for it at the end, which I don't know that I agree with that. I think that there is a place to show that some people have a hard time grieving, or they grieve in a very distanced way. And he's re-engaging with that not being healthy at this point. He's recognizing that he needs to move into actively trying to kind of understand his own way of grieving. And that I understand apologizing for. But I don't, he's on instinct before that. And I don't know. That was a nice reveal that also trickles into him resigning at the beginning of the episode. He's resigned that, hey, we're dead in the water, man. We're about to die. So go get your shit together, friend. Like, let's just put this behind. They didn't have the big argument about who was right in the last episode. Like,
it's kind of irrelevant,
yelled
isn't
at
it?
him. He just was like, you know what? We're dying. So I'm gonna go get my shit together. You go get your shit together.
Yeah, that is one of my. I think we'll stay in that moment because William Frakes is William Frakes. Jonathan Frakes is doing some acting. This is the best Riker acting that I think we've ever seen. The moments with the log that he's trying to send to Deanna, his honesty with her at the end of the episode, like he's dealing with genuine stuff, and I think it's more that he was apologizing for what she has had to go through in putting up with how he's been grieving, and that he's now ready to face it a bit more. But it felt really sincere. It felt really heartfelt. I bought into it. And I get this journey and this arc that he's going on now. Just incredible acting. It was so good.
They did a good job of like bringing that to life. More of Riker brought to life. More of Shaw. I mean, I don't want to stick on Shaw for too long, but like going back to Shaw, his hatred and his survivor's guilt and his like,
oh man,
just to give him depth. He doesn't just have to be the, flat, non-dimensional character that just hates for no hatred.
Just the asshole. Yeah.
The development of storytelling in these mediums has been so fun to watch because they know that in just short bursts of sentences, they can give some depth to some people. And here, Shaw talked about just, I don't know, you got to kind of open up and see the turmoil that he's in and being one of the 10 to survive a massacre of 11,000 people. And that was like, whoa, shit, And then we've got Jack.
Big.
Then we have Jack, who is emoting really interestingly. There's many times throughout this episode leading up to the end, which reveals that Jack had attempted to meet Picard 5 years previous. And it hadn't gone quite well because
I love that so much.
It was such a juicy bit of storytelling. The whole time I'm like, why are we doing this 5 years ago thing? It just felt out of place because the only thing tying it to the moment, to the here and now, might be that Picard once had a nice speech to a bunch of, new Starfleet kids that saw him and were like super excited to see Picard.
It was the asteroid mission thing.
Yeah, and Picard is talking about his, he's giving them like this speech and this encouragement, and it kind of relates to what's happening now. And that's the only tie until the very end when they reveal that Jack actually asked Picard a question about having additional is there more than Starfleet? And Picard's answer is Starfleet's all I've ever needed, which insinuates that Jack kind of felt like he had his answer. He didn't want to meet his dad at that point because Starfleet's all he needed.
He doesn't want a son. He doesn't want a family, doesn't need it.
And they also built that Jack is okay with being alone. And they're really hitting that theme of like you're watching Jack kind of wrestle with emotion, and the whole time, like I was saying, sprinkled throughout, I'm kind of curious what emotion is Jack feeling, because I don't quite understand it just yet. Is he confused?
Do you mean
is he
the final scene at the end?
No, just the whole in the beginning, and then in the end when they reveal that scene, then his turmoil begins to really make sense, and the rest of the episode just lights up for me. And then it goes into the mystery of why he's having, like, what is he experiencing, what the fuck is going on with Jack, that he is having these strange like flashes of something. He's being called by some group with some weird what is the Stranger Things, the upside down, like it's just got this vibe
it
going
does have
on.
like an upside down thing happening. That is, I think it's my favorite part of the episode, of what is an incredible episode. So many great moments, but the that reveal that Jack is there, and that really powerful question that is being asked anonymously, and Picard just is getting, like, Jack is getting a gut level response from him
Yeah,
because Picard doesn't know who he is. It's a great way to
it's so
get an
great.
honest answer from somebody you're trying to work out if we need this moment, and it's mirrored so well in Jack's approach to Picard during the holodeck scene, which is,
Mhm.
I don't
Keep it
need this
light.
moment. Like,
Keep it light.
don't do this
Mhm.
if you think it's something for me, because I'm honestly good, and I'm not saying that to be a dick. I genuinely am fine, and I love that because he's trying to bring some science to it. It's like, do I need this man in my life? Okay, let's go and see what he has to say. Does he need me? And I do love Picard's response, which is, I was begging him to say this, like, okay, maybe I need it. Like, be
Yeah.
honest and say,
Thank
it's
you for
not for
doing that.
you. This is for me. I am so happy
I like that
that they went
too.
that route.
A lot. I like that a lot. I felt like it was a completely appropriate thing and it was needed because Picard needs to come to the place where he knows that he's motivated by this curiosity of having a son, because this is his first time to know. He hasn't known for 23, 24 years. So
Yeah.
that character needs that, curiosity. And then also Picard seems to have that reveal at the end that he remembers Jack asking that question. And I don't know if it's intended, but it
Kind
certainly
of.
is implied.
Kind of. But I love that last piece of that is, I it's so well put together. It's Jack looking around the bridge, Picard giving that speech, which, in the talking about, like, how the crew becomes your family, how Starfleet is
Mhm.
your family. The 5 years ago, Jack in the past is taking that as, fine, cool, I'm not needed. But then you have Jack in the present day who is like, I get it. I understand now. Like, he still may
Yeah.
not agree, but after living through that experience, he has a new understanding for why Picard does see these people as his family. And just, man, how to get like an entire character arc in the space of minutes, from Jack presenting Picard to, I get it. I get it. I get
Yeah.
why this is your family. I get why you maybe think you don't need anything more than this. It's so well done. What a
It's
great
so well
theme.
done. Like huge props to me, to the writers, because I
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was forced. I felt like there had been enough information in the previous episodes to
Mm.
qualify that Jack was distant and now Jack is curious. It showed that moment of him 5 years ago at the bar. He is a 20, a young 20-year-old, late teen, something like that. And it had that vibe of a kid that's
Mhm.
curious about his dad. And that's still present, I feel, in how the actors kind of bring this character to life.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's like awakening a little bit. And I don't know. It was a powerful episode for me. There was some things I didn't like about it, of course, because that's how everything that I watch is. There's some things
Don't
like,
you
that's
dare.
weird or whatever. But I thought that it was a clever way for the crew to
Yeah.
come together. I thought it was also clever that they didn't have Picard being the hero captain. That was a
Mm.
really good choice, in my opinion. Riker needs to be that hero captain right now. He needs
Yeah. It's his ship.
it was his ship, his role. So
Mhm.
when Riker is giving that like speech to the crew, guys, we've got a plan. We're going to try to get out of here. It's going to be dangerous. You know, uh, it's not it's not the tropey thing that they could have done where Jack, like, here's his dad, give a nice heartfelt speech, and that's part of why Jack wants to get to know his dad. No, 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 no. That was Riker. They're giving
Mm.
Riker the role of father and head figure, and
Yes.
Picard the role of, do you want to be buds? Like, what do you want to do here?
Yeah.
I think that's really smart that they're not forcing that onto Picard's character, because I think it would
That
be
would just push
out
Jack
of
away.
character.
Yeah,
Not only that,
absolutely.
I think it would break some of how they've built it. And of course, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
This is their character to play with. But the writing to me really reflected the
Mhm.
care with which they're going about this very sensitive topic. And there's many sensitive topics in this episode. Um, the writers are going about it really well. And I feel like after writing something like this, that I can just imagine them all being like, man, this is some good shit, guys. Like,
Oh, you
this
gotta be
is,
proud of it, haven't
I
you?
hope they are, because I
'Cause
really liked it.
it feels original, like the estranged father-son thing has been done, but this felt really genuine and original. I loved how casual they were. It's like, let's swap some stories, and you can, if you need to explain it away, you can they sold the fact that we have a few hours left. We don't have a plan. So what's the point of ignoring each other? But even if Jack had said, I don't want to do this, I think Picard would have respected it.
Yep.
And I love that admission that, yeah, I need this. I need this connection with you. It was really powerful. I love that.
I also had some fun laughs in this one. Obviously, Shaw just killed me in this episode.
Oh, Shaw's just
his snarkiness,
insanely funny.
He's like a, if I had a devil on my shoulder, I'm pretty sure it would be like a Shaw type character. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then there's like things like just little things. Like I know that they kind of went for some humor that didn't work for me. Like Picard and Jack's conversation where they're talking about Picard losing his hair. Like that didn't hit for me, but it was cute. I get it.
Yeah.
But some of the humor that I did really enjoy. Oh crap! I just lost it. It just went away, like out of my brain.
Oh no!
There it goes. Yeah.
Sure.
No.
Humor.
It was humor related for sure. For Shaw.
For Shaw.
For Shaw. Let me see if I can grab it, and then we'll just cut that.
If you can find it.
We'll cut this part out of the podcast, obviously.
Hey, live show, you get some fun.
I agree with you, Rando Dave. We'll get to that in the sins.
Exactly.
Okay. What was it? Fuck. It was in the Jack episode. It was in the Jack scene with Picard.
Oh, the like hooking up with the women, maybe?
No.
You want to get laid?
That. I'll think of it later. We can just move
on. Which is really funny because I'm trying to find a short line as well.
Really?
I was while you were vamping, I was trying to find my line.
It's fine. We can just have a little stop down here and try to find it in our notes. Shit, what was it? Oh, I remember.
Nice.
I don't think it was like intended humor, but it really delighted me when Picard tells the story of his friend Jack Crusher, and he even is able to tell Jack that he would have named Jack Crusher as well because of this. And so we get to hear the story for the first time, but then at the end he's like, "Wait, you've heard this story, haven't you?" And it was just this adorable, like a little exchange. That wasn't like a ha 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 moment. It was like oh, that's cute, where there was a depth of Jack has heard the story many times, and then they bring it back around with Riker being like, "Yeah, I've heard that story too.
I've heard this one too." Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. It's like a little wink and nod that these characters live in a universe where this would have been something that Jack would have heard long before.
Brought up at every
from
cocktail party. Yeah, I love it. Back on the humor, like Shaw kills it in every single scene, every single line that he delivers. As soon as like it's the lack of fucks that he gives, and they even go to the effort of explaining why he has such a lack of fucks. And when Seven walks into his quarters, like not even that, she's and he's just like, "Don't come, don't come." Don't come. Fine, come in. And I just love that he's like, "Oh, bang up job your heroes are doing with my ship. Love the view." Like just in the face of death, I hope I would be the same snarky person.
You are
so thank you. So funny. And I adore him so much. And the way he swoops in and dominates a scene, like when he comes in and he does the explanation for why he hates Picard, it makes complete sense. As soon as he said the star date, I was like, "Oh, it's Wolf 359."
It's true. That was an interesting moment. Talk about people who are fucking Star Trek nerds. We're watching the show, and I'm like, Shaw, interrupts the conversation about Jack Crusher with Jack and Picard, and it's like, "Well, do you know about this?" And he names a star date, and Ian's like, "Oh!" And I'm just like, "Oh my god, just the star date."
4-3 something. So I knew when he said 4, that was the giveaway for me. I was like, "Oh," it's because I can't remember the rest of the star date, and I'm not entirely sure he got the right star date, but I'm pretty sure he did. But anyway, when he said star date 4, that means that it took place during the Next Generation. So I was like, yeah, it's Wolf 359. It has to be. That's why he has a Borg boner. Love that so much. And it makes sense. Thousands of people died. It makes sense that
11,000 people died.
And 40 starships, like tons of people were assimilated.
The Battle of Wolf 359.
359. Yeah, it's a big one.
I
Big,
wrote
big,
that
big
down.
one.
Oh, he said, "Did your old man ever tell you about the time we first met on the USS Constance?" And you were just like freaking out.
Oh, I love it. So I didn't know about the Constance, but when he said we met and Picard didn't remember him, I was like, okie dokie, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. It does a lot of work. Like Wolf 359 does a lot of backstory work. And that scene with the torpedoes firing and the phasers going off and the shouting in the
in the
background for his
Yeah.
memory was
Yes.
so
It
well
was
done.
so
Really,
powerful.
really subtle. And just, yeah,
Yes.
he's suffering with PTSD. He is traumatized, understandably, by it, and he hasn't got past it yet. So good.
Yeah, that I wrote that down as it was happening, like in parentheses, that you could hear the audio from that episode,
Yeah.
and just knowing that
I
they
am
had that's
the
just
cutest of
it was
all.
so powerful. Yeah,
Oh.
they even played that.
Loved it.
And even still, like, so yeah, they're gonna give Shaw a little bit of background, and maybe that bothers some people that they're giving Shaw like a little bit of this, PTSD and this anger, like that he obviously has been trying to work on for a minute, because it was even brought up in a psychological evaluation from that other captain,
Yeah.
the Captain Vatic or whatever. So that's interesting. But the cool thing that they're doing is that they also bring around his engineering in this episode.
Yes.
And they use
Grease
the humor
monkey.
to do it. And
Yeah.
that the biggest laugh aloud moment
Oh,
for sure is that he calls himself, like, in that moment, Shaw calls himself a dipshit from Chicago.
yeah,
And he's saying,
yet he was
like,
being saved.
yeah, like I'm just a dipshit from Chicago, and now I'm lucky number 10. It was really powerful, and it was such a moving scene. And then whenever Picard shows up at Shaw's door with Seven because they need his help, Picard has the best the best line maybe in this entire episode. What do you think?
Oh, easily. Like it might be the best line of any episode that we've reviewed.
He says, "I do need your help, despite the fact that you are indeed a dipshit from Chicago." Again, Picard
So
says
matter
fuck
of fact.
in this episode.
Yes.
He says dipshit in this episode. And I'm like, bring it, Star Trek. Show
What-
us that our heroes can curse. Thank you.
So someone on Twitter criticized heavily last week that somebody swore, and it was
They're not gonna like this episode.
so Dave Blass.
Oopsie.
Dave Blass replied to his tweet saying, "You're gonna want to skip next week." Because the guy was like, "I really like the show, but I still hate the swearing." And he's like, "I get it. You're gonna want to skip next week." But
Oops.
people swear, language
People
happens. The only
swear.
reason we didn't swear back in the day is because it was on a network television, and you couldn't even say crap, or you could barely say hell in the original series. That's how like puritanical and bullshit it was. Of course people swear. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. Of course they swear. Jesus.
You okay?
Anyway.
No, listen, I have gone on my own personal arc of trying
Swearing
to
is
understand
beautiful.
my relationship with cussing. And I love swearing. I have a good I feel like there's just certain words that make more sense for my vocabulary, and then being raised the way that I was raised, you just didn't. Maybe that's one of the reasons I like it so much, because it feels dirty, naughty. I don't know. I don't know.
Getting a little insight into the ambassador's character there.
It's like my chaos, my pushing the boundaries of like what is and isn't okay.
Fuck this shit.
And then I was in radio for a long time, and you certainly don't curse on radio. And then the world of podcasting really blew up for me, and I found myself really enjoying listening to people who just were unapologetically themselves and continue to experience success. And I kind of just faced the big old fear of being judged and stepped out and like, you know what? I just want to be me. I want to be me, and I'm a cusser. So watching Picard curse, I was like, oh my God. So like on one little shoulder is my Picard angel, on the other shoulder is my little Shaw devil. And I'm super happy.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
great.
like it. I like it. I think it gives them dimension, and I think it also just shows the progression of character. Like people curse, and that's okay to show. This episode really had a lot of interesting representation in that way. It was really complicated, and it's like emotional. The way that it was emotional. Anyway.
No, totally agree. And it's a great way to get Shaw back in the game as well. It's like, hey, nobody knows this shit better than you.
Right.
Get in there, Grease Monkey, and help us out. And I love it. Makes sense. I love it so much.
It did.
And it gave a
did
little
make
bit of
sense.
extra depth to, because I'm a nerd, the refit process. So one of the criticisms has been that the Titan A doesn't look anything remotely like the Titan, the original. Like, it is a completely different class of ship. And I do. Terry Metalis has given some great explanations for this online, which is that after the shipyards were destroyed, which we saw in season 1 of Picard, it wasn't just like the ships that were blown up, it was materials, and some materials are extremely hard to get by. So the refit process has to be a bit more creative. So they were using the bones of the Titan, and instead of scrapping it, they replaced pretty much everything and rebuilt it. But the core of the ship, the wiring, the circuitry, the bits underneath the shell are still the Titan. It's just a new refit process. And they refer to that in the episode, and Shori's just like, yeah, you're confused because everything in the guts of the ship is a lot older than you were expecting it to be. I love that. I love that so much. It's just those little nerd things just allow me to be in the universe a little bit more. I love it. I love it.
There is something to be said about these episodes. This one certainly crammed a lot into this time frame, and maybe I feel that more because we were not cutting over to the Rafi Wharf time, so we sat inside the ship and had to come up with problem solving in all these unique ways, and then they fit it together really interestingly too, where it's not like they just had one conversation with Shaw and then they came up with a decision, they came up with an idea. It builds. It's like all these little tiny sections, and then it comes together. So to that I was able to sit back, watch, see what they wanted to do. I was trying to kind of figure it out a little bit, and I kind of thought I knew where I was going to go a couple times and didn't go there, which was fun. Like, I thought that the Captain Vadic was going to actually save them. We didn't talk about that at all. Can we talk about Captain Vadic?
Yeah, I had one before we depart from that. I had one little last thing about the Shaw doing Wolf 359 stuff. The other beautiful organic thing about that scene is that it unites Jack and Picard, because suddenly Jack is like defensive of his father and saying, hey, that's not fair. And whether that's just as a fellow human or fellow being, that's not fair. He was a Borg. That is not his fault. He didn't go out there and kill a ton of people. There's not really much he could have done to avoid that. This is an unfair argument. And it just brings Jack and Picard a little bit closer together against Shaw. So yeah, really, really well put together scene. But yes, Vadic, I was right. The Shrike was supposed to get them out of the nebula. I still don't understand why she didn't act sooner, or why she didn't do
because
something
she hadn't
else.
cut her hand off yet, dude.
Yeah, I know, but I was right for the wrong reasons, or I think I was wrong for the right reasons. But we do find out that Vadic is a changeling.
Is she?
Yes, she's a changeling, 100%.
Okay, I'm so
100%.
fucking confused. Here's what I saw. I saw someone cut off their hand in a little bowl.
Yeah.
And then it took the form of a Max Headroom-esque head kind of thing that talked to her and said, no, you do what I want. And then it became part of her body again. And I was thinking, oh, is she like a host? Is she? No,
it's the
like
Great
a
Link
weird
thing.
Symbiotic thing going on.
It's this Great Link thing. They're always connected stuff, so they'll be tapping into some connection that they have that spans the galaxy. And this is a new thing. This isn't, unless I'm missing something, this isn't something that we saw in Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure she's a changeling.
What kind of a changeling would need to cut off part of itself to talk to itself? I'm just curious about that.
It's a weird bit of science. I would love to hack into that and see what the logic is.
I think that
what the limitations are.
I think she's sharing part of her body.
Oh, that is an interesting theory.
Like, I'm thinking that the changeling takes up like maybe the arm or like part.
Interesting.
And she can't talk to it unless it's like off of her.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's just the hand. So she cuts it off and then it like talks to her and then she puts it back on.
I would just imagine they would be able to talk in her head. It really felt like it was for us. That's
But if it
interesting. That's an interesting prediction.
but we wouldn't need that though. Like I understand that the show will have to show us some things so that we know. But she's
Mm,
clearly afraid and maybe it's
yeah.
keeping her alive. Maybe they have an agreement that it
But
keeps
then
her alive because it even said like you're dispendable too. Like I don't need you.
but if this changeling is there, then that means they're gonna die as well. If they send the Shrike in.
Maybe it's not worried
Maybe
about that
they're
right now
expendable. Yeah.
because they're expendable too. Like
Interesting.
maybe I don't think that the hand is the big bad, but it's part of the big bad.
Yeah.
But it's just this weird thing. Like I don't understand why a changeling would maybe like only part of it survived. Like I don't know how changelings
Maybe.
work. So like if a changeling is this huge shape of a, let's say a changeling
Goo.
fills up a 10-gallon bucket, but then
Hmm.
part of it doesn't get back to the bucket. Does the part that did get back to the bucket become the new changeling and it's just tiny? Like a
I
little
do not
elf?
know
Like a
because they
little
can
fairy?
they can change mass, so they can be bigger or smaller. So I don't know how if they would just fill the gap. I don't know how much of the changeling is left before it stops being a changeling. That
Okay, so
I
this is a
cannot
mystery.
answer.
This
This
is
is
a
a
mystery.
mystery.
But
I
we
like that
do
as a prediction.
but we do realize that she is answering to something else. We get to see that something else
Yes,
hit
there's a
take the form
higher
of
bad guy here.
a floating hand head. And
Yep.
then she goes against her own survival instincts and takes her ship into the gravity well to retrieve specifically Jack again. But there
Mm.
was this kind of weird moment. I didn't know how to read it where she's almost like, yeah, he fell into the well, so can't keep doing that anymore. Like almost like she didn't want the mission to succeed in a way. It was a strange I didn't know how to take that.
Yeah, I took that as she was being sheepish about admitting that she'd fucked up. It felt like, yeah, sorry about that. It kind of, and almost like she knows that she's going to be asked to go in there, and that she can't say no to it, and she's just like, I don't want to have this conversation because I know what I'm going to be told to do. It's kind of,
Mm,
I'm probably doing a lot of work for the writers, but that's how the delivery hit me anyway.
okay. Well, either way, we did get to see her. We did get to see her ship be disabled but not destroyed, so she's not out of the picture just yet.
Oh
So
no. But
she'll
let's
be coming
talk
back.
about that scene. Holy shit, how cool was that? Titan is riding the wave and Riker's just like tractor beam, throw an that is like such a Riker thing to do, is get the tractor beam and lob an asteroid at the ship. It
Well,
was so
he copied
great.
her, just to be clear.
To be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's such a
great
Riker thing to do to take credit for a really clever move from someone else.
from somebody else. But it's fine, just use their own shit against them.
It was
Yeah, I
fun.
loved that so
It
much.
was
So much
fun.
fun.
And what a
Dumb moment,
nod
but
that
fun.
it already had happened and he learned, adapted, and did the same exact thing and cleverly took
Mm,
something from behind them and then just went and like swung it
yeah.
out so that they didn't have a chance to kind of know what was happening. I
Yeah,
guess they
too
were on a
late to
collision
maneuver.
course too. So what was the Shrek doing? Like just sitting there. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess catch it as it came out of the nebula. Um, but
It's
the visual effect I was talking about that I loved so much was the Titan riding the wave of the nebula out. Like that was beautiful. The waves that were like going into the nacelles, just surfing its way out of the nebula was so gorgeous. That is like movie level stuff. It was beautiful. I had chills watching that and the music that went along with it. Such an elegant classic TNG solution. Like riding the wave of anything is always how they get out of a nebula or some energy thing that's so powerful. They do it in Insurrection. There's this huge energy beam that's going to destroy them. They detonate the warp core and ride the wave of the warp core explosion to safety. It was a beautiful nod to a classic solution. Oh man, so well executed. It's
we
gorgeous.
are we are so lucky
Mm,
to live in a time when we get to see beautiful things like that
yeah,
on TV. They're not just for the big movies. You know, there's something that we get to see on these shows that like the CGI stuff is affordable enough for companies to do it. And I know that like I know it's CBS, so they've got a lot of money, but it's still fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
the ships look good, the space looks cool, the special effects look cool, and you know that when they're doing this on the sound studio, that they're like, oh, we'll see how this looks in post. We'll see how this looks later. We don't know for sure. We have a pretty good
No,
idea.
they got an idea.
And
Yeah.
it's also nice that when we talked to oh gosh, I just forgot his name. What's his name that we talked to that was on the sound studio, and and he told us that they have like the screen set up.
Bruce Horrock. Bruce Horrock.
Bruce Horrock. Yeah. They have now also to see the backdrop, so they know what they're looking at in the distance and such. But this kind of like fun CGI. Oh, it's so pretty. It just looks so pretty because I mean, I'll get to like the logistics of how this works here in just a second, which of course this is sci-fi and whatever.
Would not accept any criticism on this point.
Specifically, how it looked was so beautiful.
Chills. Cool. I want to rewatch it right now.
It was
beautiful.
So nice. I got chills as well.
I think I'm going to have to rewatch this on Aaron's big TV. Yeah,
Aaron's TV is insane. I also just think that it's nice to see them not just have one shot of it, that they kind of showed different angles and they showed different ways that this energy, like how they were writing it. I feel like, a long time ago, it would have been like one shot, one thing. They might have showed the same thing 3 or 4 times because they just were reusing that footage. But here we got to see multiple angles and the crackling energy and this cool pulse wave. It's not a pulse wave, though. Let's not forget. This is contractions from an actual living being.
Come on. Let's do it.
Hey, I called it. I said it was an alive being in there.
You did. You said it was alive. We had a couple clues, but yeah, you definitely called that one.
That one. Just didn't know it was a fucking birth canal. And having had my own contractions in my life, I was like, this is uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable.
Beverly timing the contraction, I was like, oh, that's when it kind of started to tick over for me. I was like, why is the doctor doing this? And that's a classic Beverly thing as well, to make an analogous, to compare it to something else.
Wait.
Not analingus. No.
That did not come out right.
It came out exactly right.
You can cut that out of the podcast. Just snip it.
Nope, no cutting.
Moving on. I did not just say that.
Yep.
It
was a very, very cunning spoonerism. So anyway, I love the science that Beverly does in this episode. She's like spitting some science. Like, Science Bev is here. I love that so much. Like,
the scene when she figures it out.
Yeah.
She comes and she's like, "Listen, this is a energy burst. This is how it usually would work. So it's receiving matter and then spinning it back out, but it's happening in interesting waves. And so I think we've got something going on here, guys. Like, something's about to happen." And I'm like, the leap to birth is a little bit interesting for me.
In the sins.
But it's also really, I understand what the writers are doing. They're talking about the birth of something new. We even had that birth comment whenever Picard goes down to see Jack last episode when he was ill and he was coming back to life. Like, this is about rebirth. And so why not put you into the afterbirth?
Oh, God.
Of
Eat space. It up. Yeah.
I mean, we literally saw the birthing of space sperm.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. We saw a lot. It was a lot.
However,
but it was pretty.
It is beautiful. And it's a beautiful classic ending to TNG. Like, they mention Encounter at Farpoint, which is the 2 episodes that we watched, the season opening to Star Trek Next Generation. And obviously it was going to be compared to that. So I'm glad they gave it a nod to kind of, we know what we're doing here. But it's a beautiful classic Star Trek ending to a story, is that the thing was alive. It's a new form of life that we don't know. And it was just a beautiful, hopeful thing that it's not all doom and gloom. There is still exploration happening and there's still science happening. Just a great nod to the kind of the warm, fuzzy feelings of TNG. Knowing that we got some deep shit to come.
Yes, we do. What else did we miss? What are do we miss any other big themes here? I'm trying to think. I think we kind of hit the rest of it. Let me look through my notes, I suppose.
So I really love the conference room shenanigans where you have a classic planning the plan in the conference room of the ship. This is where some of my favorite scenes of all time happen. It's such a comfortable place where the gathering of minds happen, and here's the problem, here's what we have against us, here's the possible solutions, people disperse, go and do your thing. Classic TNG formula. Love it to death. And just Beverly having a seat at the table for once and having something useful to say. My goodness, they're really giving her a lot more to do. Still not enough, but a lot more to do. I love it.
Since we're in the conference room, I also really, really loved the conference table.
Yes, yeah.
It was this really beautiful interface. It was a big, massive computer, which is what it would need to be in the future when we have. And I'm trying to play the intro in the background here, so I'm sorry if my.
No, you're fine. No, we're not hearing it.
My shit's going weird, but yeah, I loved that conference table. It showed when Riker was sitting down to potentially send a difficult message to Deanna. And I was just enthralled by it. It was like, look at all these different things that it's showing. And it's so much. I
love it.
It would be on screens in the past, but now it's on the table too, because we can't get away from our screens. They are everywhere.
Nope, screens are everywhere. You're always going to have black mirrors wherever you go. There was one little thing that I liked, kind of back in the beginning, the opening of the episode, is Riker and the whole show is going for this metaphor of a sinking ship. And it's a sinking ship in a nebula. And I love that comparison of an actual ship at sea. So this is something that Wrath of Khan did really well, where you have this essentially submarine battle between Khan and the Reliant and Kirk on the Enterprise. And I just love that metaphor that they are losing power. They're essentially taking on water and sinking. And I just thought that was a really, really, it's really thoughtful writing. It's not careless. It's very deliberate about the metaphor that they're going for. I assume I could be pulling that out of my ass, but the sinking ship thing was really cool. I liked it.
Another thing on my notes as I'm going through was the moment between Picard and Beverly when he asks for a moment with Jack.
Oh, my goodness.
And she says, like, of course. Just Please. That really brief kind of just emotional kind of moment. They only have a few hours before they're potentially going to be dying. And Beverly just lovingly lets them have a moment because Jack kind of nodded like, yeah, it's fine.
But so she's also just like, please have a moment. Like, there's nothing I want more than you two talking. Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
I also thought it was interesting that for a moment there, Riker was kind of wrestling with wanting to actually sink the ship so that there was a remnant someday.
Yes. So rather than risk blowing it up, at least we'll have the logs and people, we can say goodbye to people. Yeah, that was an interesting angle that I hadn't thought of. Like, either way we could die, but if there's a 1% chance of living, I don't want to risk the 99% chance that no one knows whatever happened to us. Just really interesting thought. Back on Riker, because he just got the meat and potatoes of this episode in a lot of ways. Him battling with the thought of an afterlife. I love this so much. He's just like, we've been out there. We've seen some shit, Captain. We've been to each corner of the galaxy. Galaxy doesn't have corners. And I still have seen nothing, not a single thing. He's traveled through time, countless aliens, countless belief systems, and he's seen nothing that proves there's life after death. So how much more powerful is it when somebody dies, when you have even less proof that there's an afterlife or a heaven, just a void? And he's battling with that. He's like, how can I let go of Thad, knowing that he's just gone forever? Oh man, I could spend episodes dealing with that and just explaining it. Like, I'm already there, but I would just imagine there would be this even greater understanding of a lack of belief when you're faced with a universe of people that believe different things to you. And it's like, what's this one unifying thing that brings us together? And the amount of things they can prove, and yet there's still no proof for an afterlife. So I loved that so much. Yeah, that did some things for me.
I also wrote down a couple things here. One of the funny quips from Shaw that I forgot was when Seven comes to him for advice about how to hunt down this person, or the changeling, and he quickly kind of changes and he's like, you know what, Seven, I underestimated you. You're going to be a great captain someday. And he's like, and this is how you would know that I was a changeling. And she's like, oh, because you wouldn't say that because you're a dick.
Yeah.
That was really fucking funny.
It's such a great moment. She's like, "Oh, you don't mean this. You're pretending to be a changeling." He's like, "You got it."
And then this like kind of wink and nod. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go find this residue, and he's just like, whatever. Like he's just given up. He's resigned to just whatever. He's like, I don't fucking care.
Like I'll still help, but fine. He's a fascinating character.
Did you notice that Beverly was doing countdowns from starting with the number 7?
Oh, that was a beautiful transition.
And then it was
7,
5,
6, yeah.
And it was kept kind of going down. Yeah, so that was kind of
cool. Love that. Was a great transition from 7 walking through the corridor. But I was fine with how she figured out that LaForge was a changeling. Like it was telegraphed as heck. We knew it, but it was a nice bit of logic, and it did kind of double service of sure. She calls me 7 because she isn't a dick.
She respects me.
She respects
me as a sign of respect.
Yeah.
That was a nice callback to episodes previous. That wasn't even in this episode. That was something that happened, before. Well, I think they had it in the previously ons, just in case you forgot, which is annoying, but whatever. I like that too. And I also liked that they didn't try to push the audience a little bit more, because we just saw LaForge on the bridge. So we didn't have to go, is it not? Like,
it wasn't meant for us. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It wasn't.
I have
and at the end of that moment, like he's like, how did you know? And she explains it, and then he goes, good job. And then he just goes right back in, like
back to it.
Barely acknowledges it. Just a super like,
yep.
Cool. Yeah, I get it. Bye.
Cool. Makes sense. Let's go. Good job. Him in the guts of the ship, doing all of his wiring and stuff. I love it. Love it. I need a Titan show. When will they announce Star Trek Titan? Anyway, I've got one last final point, and this is just Beverly having a great, great line that I love so much when they're trying to convince Riker, and she says, "Let's do what we spent our entire lives learning to be great at." That was so good. I love that. Like they're all kind of acknowledging we've been in tighter spots than this. Let's at least try it. Never once have we just resigned ourselves to giving in. And sure, maybe Riker is convinced too easily and he comes up with part of the plan, blah, blah, blah. But a powerful moment. Loved it. Did things for me. Anything else, Ambassador, before we move on to a slim sin section?
Very short. Farpoint was mentioned. What was Farpoint again?
Oh, Encounter at Farpoint. So that's where the space jellies came from. That's the episode that we covered before season 3 started.
Are these baby Farpoint jellies?
No, that we got a good shot on them and they look different enough.
They're very luminescent.
They're just another form of life. But I think they acknowledged Farpoint because everyone's going to make that comparison. So it's kind of the show saying, we know what we're doing here. It's okay. Calm down.
Okay. I also wanted to say there's this moment, like, so Riker, when he was wrestling with his decision to either go ahead and sink the ship so that there was a ship remaining or try to get out somehow. There's this moment where sort of like right before he kind of reveals that he's on board for trying to pop out the nacelles or do whatever they're going to do. And he's framed by the conference room. And then there's the archway that leads into the bridge. And it's just this beautiful frame of like the silhouette of Riker. In the distance, you can see the bridge crew like at their stations. And you can kind of see silhouetted in the foreground Picard and, Beverly and everything. I just thought it was just really beautifully done. Yeah. I kind of just wanted to pause it and go, I think I want this as my screensaver. It was so pretty.
This is where I want to be.
It was just this frame of command, and then he turns around and he's like, okay, we're doing this and we're going to use the crew. And then they give the nice, riveting speech about, rallying the troops, and it cuts back to like Beverly, her face as she's like watching her buddy, this old these guys have been around for a long time. So to be back in the conference room, making a plan, trusting that they're going to have be able to figure it out on the fly as needed and possibly kill everyone and still find a way to be okay with it. Like I believed him. I believed it.
Yeah, totally buy it. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Well,
and also that Seven and Shaw are like just over there talking. She's hitting him. He's like, if I was a changeling, I'd
Yeah.
this would be a really good opportunity to.
This would work.
And it's such a great nod to storytelling. How they know that this is the normal trope, is that someone's going to come and sabotage in this room.
Of course, the changeling's going to turn up.
But it cuts away to Picard on the bridge. And I'm like, oh my God, are they insinuating that he's going to.
Just drops a little seed of, is the changeling on the bridge? Like,
is it? Yeah, because you're like, wait, where would the changeling be? And so it ends
Picard
up
was just
going.
with us.
Yeah, it ends up going over, there. But there's just enough like curiosity about what the show is gonna do, but also a wink and nod that it, like Shaw and Seven, like,
we know
if I was gonna fuck up a ship, I'd do it right here, right now.
If I was writing an episode of Star Trek, this is when I would bring in the changeling to fuck with us.
And then LaForge, the fake LaForge, when they come in, asks questions like, "So if we don't get the second one back on, we won't be able to warp, right?" And just like, man, that was really good.
Because
they don't want to warp.
Somehow, I think I'm trying to work out how this changeling knows what the mission is, because the idea is they want the Titan out of the nebula, but not to warp away. So they want one nacelle to work and the other to not work.
They
so
want
that the ship can be saved.
Put it back to the
Shrike.
Yeah.
So somehow this changeling knows
to get it to
get the ship out. So there's something about that changeling that I'm just like, how many changelings are out there? How did it know to be on the Titan?
Many. We didn't talk about this, and we have to. God damn it! This show is going to be so fucking long.
It always is. Go on.
We have to talk about this, though.
Let's do it.
Riker gives over flight command to Picard, who then invites Jack to sit beside him. Did you like that?
Doesn't make any sense, but yes, I did.
Okay.
It would have made more sense.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
It doesn't make any sense. He's not a commissioned officer. He shouldn't know how any of these controls work, to be honest, unless they're super intuitive. But that's in the sins. But it was a great moment of like Riker and Picard together. I mean, we're not doing much for diversity with that 3 white man command crew, but you could have had Beverly in that seat. It could have had any number of people, 7
Maybe
perhaps,
we do transition to sins. Is this a transition to sins?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, with that, let's head to engineering what's left of it. 4 instance is futile. Battle stations, everyone.
Listen.
Red alert.
Why wasn't there somebody at that seat already?
2 weeks in a row. Can I do the intro?
God damn it.
Could you let me do my intro? Thank you. This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains and remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. I mean, who was in that seat? Who else are you going to put in that seat?
I am so confused. They say we're going to be flying blindish, so we're going to have to, use all of our resources to look around or whatever. How is there no one already in that seat doing the thing that Jack does? And if it's
They've all been relieved of duty.
I'm so confused.
They've all been relieved. It's fine. I don't know who that seat is for, actually, the third. We still don't know who the third in command is.
It's Jack now.
It is now Jack. It's a great moment. It's worth it. It is sinful as heck. There are
we get
100 more qualified people.
Engage.
Good.
We needed
I'm
that.
I'm fine with him being
suppose.
In the seat.
Fine.
I'm fine with 7 being off and still uncommissioned and doing things undercover. That's fine. It makes sense. But who's in the third seat and why should it not be Jack?
It's like, Jack, this is super fucking dangerous. We're all pretty much, we could die. Of course, I guess at that point in time, everything was getting charged back up. No, it wasn't. It was like, we got to navigate through some stuff. And he's like, Mark Helm, blah, blah, blah. Just wait 4 seconds. Who?
Yeah,
what?
they haven't had
How?
they haven't had it yet. They haven't had the full wave to get them out. It's just getting into position.
It was weird. I liked it because it looked cool, but it was like, this doesn't make any sense, does it?
Super
I don't know.
Cinny.
Okay.
It's still, I know they had limited systems, but it still baffles me that they can even do this manually. I'm amazed that they have the wherewithal to avoid this stuff.
Oh, that's right. Because I think that was before life support. They had to take life support all the way down to prep to be able to get out.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're doing any of it, but it's fine. It made for a great episode. And I do want to preface, we sin because we love, and it's just something we
sin
do.
because we
This
care.
show is so good. Anything that we talk about is very nitpicky, and we're not even suggesting they should do it differently. It's just fun. It's fun to talk about.
Guys,
It's
this is
fun
part of our
to pick
jobs.
things apart. It is literally part of our jobs. We do it
we
with
have the
love.
sin brain. Yeah.
We wouldn't make a podcast about something we didn't love. So, having said that, let's do the biggest sin for me, which was, I'm sorry to say, the holodeck. Hanging a lantern on it doesn't make it any less of a sin. I get it. I actually like the logic
I
that
like
this
the
is
logic
this is a
too.
sanctuary. This
Hey,
is a
guys.
safe mental space.
Yeah.
Things are going wrong.
This is for you.
This is for you. Take a minute. However, there are less energy draining ways of doing that. Have like a bubble room or something, like have a panic room.
We have a literal bar you could go sit in. That's
you have a 10 forward that you could use.
Like, we could literally just go get a drink, an actual one.
Yeah.
That doesn't require any energy.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, I guess, life support to keep that room breathable.
It's also,
but that's a gathering space. That's what they need. They said gathering in public spaces.
It's the separate power source thing as well, because like you gave it the therapy explanation, which is great, but then also you didn't even have to justify the use of power, because you also said that it has a different separate power source, and I was just like, it's a bit.
I just thought of something.
You tried really, really hard to make it okay.
Okay, go with me here.
Mm-hmm.
Different power system because of Moriarty. They had to do some protocols in place because of the Moriarty problem, right?
That's a great idea.
They had a problem.
Yeah.
Something happened very bad. Very, very, very bad things happened.
Yeah.
And so they have a new protocol in place. What if Moriarty does show up in this season, maybe because it is on a separate cell, because it is separate somehow, that's what ends up kind of saving their butts. Maybe that's it.
They are sick of holodecks fucking with everything. So we've segregated that power system away from the main ship so that we can cut that off and it isn't tied into anything else. That's a great idea. Great solution. You've solved it. No longer a sin. I love it. So yeah, we'll move on from that. But yes, it did feel like it's still a big power drain considering how big the disaster is right now. But there we go. Over to you. What's your next sin?
I mean, they're in a space womb.
I don't have many.
I would just sin that for fun. Just
the space womb.
The space womb. Let's see. One of my sins is a fun one. So you talk about how like we sin because we care. This is like our jobs, and one of our cinema sins standards is like, okay, like leave the fun wordplay to us. We'll take it from here because we make up those silly words. But residue was great.
Residue. Yeah.
I would just be like, hey, leave the silly wordplay to us, because it's technically not a sin at all, but it's like a staple of our brand. Yeah. It's just a staple of our brand, so I would do that.
Goo was right there. That would be the sin.
Goo.
Goo.
Goo gaga.
7. Keep shooting, please. Like, she meets the changeling, shoots it a couple times.
Bing, bing, bing. She's like,
waits
wow,
for reasons, and then just watches it as it goops into the bulkhead. And I'm like, shoot it! Keep shooting it!
Quite understand. Like Worf and Rafi, they were just like, oh, that didn't work.
Yep.
And they just kill them, you know?
Bigger weapon. It's because we're not ready for it to die, but let it escape in a better way. Like, let it do some acrobatic shit or knock her out or something. I just like 7, considering the stakes, should have vaporized that fool.
She's been given permission to murder from the captain because he didn't reinstate her so that she could go hunt this thing. And then she's just like, you know what? I want to keep hunting you, so go ahead.
This is fun. I quite like this game. This is fun. Your turn.
This is another example of us sinning the show for something that's not a sin at all. The moment when Picard and Jack are talking and Jack starts to open up and tell a story, and then it just fades out.
That was fine for me.
Wait, this is like the moment where they're connecting and you're cutting away. Is it that lackluster? Was this not going anywhere? And it probably wasn't, because now we know that Jack wasn't really trying to open up and tell a story. But he's like, this might be of interest to you. And he's like, so there I was touching someone's antenna that was broken. And I come to find out that this is very, sensitive muscle. And I'm like, okay, And then it just starts fading out. And then, wait. What's the story? What's the fucking story?
It is the classic thing of, I've got the best joke ever, fade to black. You never have to write the best joke. You don't have to write the anecdote. You just fade away. But I also get it. Like, they're just swapping stories. It's to show that the conversation carries on. I get it. I don't know that we needed much more, but it is, perhaps a little bit cynical. I have something that is going to undo something that I said this is also a good thing and a sin thing. It's Shaw being mad about Wolf 359. I'm sinning it because it's now become internally cliche that to do this does the heavy lifting of a backstory for Shaw without having to create anything new. And I'm not even saying they shouldn't have done it, but it is easy. Like, they did it with Sisko as well. The very first episode of Deep Space Nine, Picard is congratulating Sisko on taking command of the space station and that he has a big job and he doesn't envy him. And Picard's Sisko basically says, I don't care. I don't like you. I don't need a pat on the back from you. I don't need anything from you, because Sisko's wife was killed during Wolf 359 as well. And Sisko blames Picard and he's like, fuck you, fuck everything you did. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I don't like you. Now, this is about 4 years after, 3 years? 3 years after the battle, so it's more fresh. But it is becoming an internal cliche of give a character a backstory because of Wolf 359. Make them hate Picard because of Wolf 359. It makes sense. It would happen. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is an easy thing to pull on for a backstory now. But I still love it.
And watching Picard walk away, like, no, I get it.
I've heard this before.
I am the representation of your trauma. I have nothing to say here. How powerful is that? He doesn't even apologize. He's just like, I'm just gonna go.
Not going to defend it. An apology isn't what you need. I'm just going to remove myself because I am painful for you, so I'm going to leave.
Yeah. I love
really,
Picard.
really good.
I would probably just send the backlit bucket. Seven's backlit bucket search.
the reverse going. Reverse
it's
engineering.
Like, I totally get it. You need to find the bucket. Why would this idiot put it in a well-lit secret cubby that
so many places to hide it.
So many dark places to hide it.
Yeah.
So many other places to put it where it's not backlit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just send the backlit bucket.
Yeah. Get it.
And also I would just make the narrator say backlit bucket as much as I possibly could.
Backlit buckets. This backlit bucket didn't need to be backlit as much as a bucket that is backlit has been backlit by the bucket. Mm-hmm. Hey, cannabis. So this is quite funny because this was originally a good point, and then I moved it into sins, and then I think I've moved it back into the good points, but I'm gonna sin it. It opens up in 5 years earlier. Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
And my good point was that starting each episode with a flashback kind of gives us a bit of a comfy framework where we know each episode might open with a little bit of exposition in the past, but then we're safe for the rest of the episode. And we know that the flashback exposition has happened and we're now in the present day. And then this episode started going backwards and forwards so much. And I was like, oh, we're going to keep doing this. Fine. But then by the end of the episode, when Jack turns up, I'm like, that was beautiful. I fucking loved it. So I'm going to sin the fact that we keep having time travel flashbacks position. But in this episode, it kind of worked. I kind of liked it. Just be careful with it, people.
I think the sin there is letting the haddock get cold. You know, like, you
completely.
Who likes to eat just, slightly warm fish?
They're the worst. I can get away with warm fish, maybe.
So fucking gross.
But the cold chips never taste good.
Like,
that's not
Picard,
nice.
Again, the fun sin is, are you really going to eat that now? Like,
can't replicate you just, a new one?
Yeah.
Get something
food. Warm.
I bet this happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have one last one. And this is the erasure of season 2 of Picard. Gradually, step by step by step. Shaw says, forget about the weird shit that happened on the Stargazer. The real Borg are out there. Like, that is in a line. That is basically them saying, forget what happened last season. It doesn't matter. Everything is still as you know it. The Agnes Collective is totally different. The Borg still exist. don't worry, people, it's okay. I half expected him to say Q is still out there as well, and just erase season 2 from your mind entirely. It is interesting the subtle ways that they are making the show that they wish season 1 and season 2 have been. Like, there's lots of nods with the sound effects as well. Like the Titan has very little that's new. Basically, every sound effect is pulled or modified from TNG. The transporter room looks the same. The holodeck doors look the same. The holodeck grid flashed for a little bit, and that was the gold grid of TNG, which didn't even make it into Voyager. Or TNG, actually, for the movies. They have a different hologrid. And it's just kind of this extra level of nostalgia, which is, we're going to apologize by making this extra TNG, but I do think it's slightly at the expense of the 2400s, where I'm fine that things have moved on and things have evolved. Like, I'm fine with both, but I think we now need to be consistent about what this new Star Trek looks like and what the 2400s now looks like. And it's okay to move on. We can rewatch TNG. But I get that this is the last chance to do it as well. So I'm really, really conflicted. But there's a lot of erasure going on of previous seasons.
There's fun ways to send that too, like trying to make us forget about something that we can't forget about.
Yeah, and I get it. I love it. There's nothing more that I want to see than more TNG episodes. But we are now 25 years removed. Let's do something new. But yeah, no, I still love the nostalgia. Do you have anything else?
Nothing major. I mean, there's always little silly things that we can pop in on here and there. I mean, maybe maybe I would do the woman discovers that they're having a birth cliche. Like, leave it up to the woman to figure out that there's womanly things. There's miracle of birth happening right now. Maybe I would possibly do that, but at the same time, they gave her, like you said, that nice scientific scene. So it's hard. It's hard to send something I'm enjoying, but
it is honestly, my last thought is that it's just a great freaking show. I love it.
It's a good show.
With that, let's head over to the ready room for some final predictions. Welcome to the Captain's Ready Room, where we hear our predictions for the rest of the season and bask in our Q-like glory if anything we've predicted has previously come true. I really need to get my notes in order.
We're still not sure if Jack is Borg, right?
Not much or anything. So I have a prediction about this. I actually think he's a human changeling hybrid. So I think this is going to be part of the diseased Great Link, where they're still trying to find a cure. And as always, that cure is in the indomitableness of the human genome. So I wonder if, unbeknownst to Beverly, or maybe she does know. Maybe she does know that there's a cure for the Great Link, and she test tube babied Jack as well and meddled with him. This is why they were on the run. Maybe Jack is a miracle cure that she's hiding for the changelings, and that's why the changelings want him.
I don't understand how any of that works. If she didn't test tube him, Picard and her...
in what I mean is in the womb, in the utero, that she did experiment. Yeah, used herself as a test tube.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one.
Wow. Okay. Sure. Right. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that, but you know what? It's your prediction. It's your prediction. I was thinking nanobites because Picard is part Borg, and it would have been in him somehow. So it's
there is that, like, tapping into the collective thing as well. I mean, the Great Link is very similar to the Borg collective in that they are all connected, can hear each other's thoughts and whatnot, and they can interface with each other. So it could be, again, right for the wrong reasons or wrong for the right reasons.
What if, like, I mean, if it is about this thing, you know, if they're kind of nodding to the Captain Cigar, Vadic being like some kind of a host body. Maybe Jack is an accidental host body in some way, and he's just trying to fight it off. Maybe it's trying to take over or something. But they're doing something there, something very Stranger Things.
Something's happening. Visions.
They've got the, like, I don't even, a veiny sort of red, apocalyptic male and female voices. It's all sort of like, and door opening continues to be visually what's going on there. So who knows? Who knows?
It's interesting. I do love it. There's just not enough to put the mystery together just yet. And I think that's deliberate. I think they go back to Starfleet. They get told off, and then Worf asks for help, and they end up teaming up with Worf, who has more information on this mystery. Or maybe
they're leave
Titan,
the Titan
gets. No, I kind of hope we stay with the Titan. I think the Titan might get sent to assist Worf, because Worf might report in and say, "It's changelings, everybody," and then Picard
like,
and
the Titans
are like,
just had a changeling situation.
Thing. Yep, team up and go and deal with it.
You guys work together.
Yeah.
Don't come in and have some counseling about your trauma.
Nope. Nope.
Go continue to deal with it.
But I do love the idea that we're out of the nebula, and we're actually, like we said at the beginning of the episode, we have some momentum for next week to see what is happening next. Where are we going? There's a nice little bookend at the end of this episode.
Did we ever decide what weapon they're going to take from, like, what the actual real weapon was? Did we talk about that?
From the Daystrom Institute?
What's so funny?
Law.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. Or Moriarty.
We say this every week. Yeah.
It's that one guy that we always forget about.
What? Who?
With the sword. What's his name?
Worf?
Nope. He's a kid.
Alexander. What? What are we talking about?
He's like a murder kid.
Elnor.
Elnor, yes.
Elnor, Jesus. No, I think Elnor's going to be not in this season, to be honest, unless he's in the last episode.
Poor Elnor.
My goodness. Incredible. That's really my big prediction for the season now. I don't know where they're going to go next. It's interesting. Jack clearly isn't finished, isn't done. He has a mystery.
Nope. He's got the upside down world to deal with, which means 7 of 9 is actually 11.
It could be a Borg thing. 7 of 9 is 11. Amazing.
It could be a Borg thing. Like, we don't know.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We will be live next week, Friday at 12:30-ish Central Time. Come and join the discussion on Twitter, if Twitter is your thing, at CaptainSpotCS, or send us an email, captainspod@cinemasins.com, and we will answer questions and such. But until next week, I'm going to go and check on my pot to see if it has any residue in it.
And I'm going to say let's get away from our new friends, the space babies.
Oh. And live long in Potspur. Live long in Potspur.
That one moment, because Riker turns around, he's like, wait, what? Space babies?
Space babies, really?
We don't want to be here.
No.
For the great baby spurtage.
No. Okay.
Holy
let's do some questions.
Shitballs. Let me turn on some music.
Do it. Turn on some music. Let's do some things.
Do it. Let's listen to some music. We're gonna play some music. This one's called Dragon Dreams.
They all sound exactly the same to me. You just put the same music on.
No, I didn't.
Sounds the same.
Okay, fine. So here's Crunchy. It's different.
It's exactly the same. You've just put the same music on again.
Okay. Oh, this one's called Spacey.
It's the same song again.
Okay. We have a problem.
Yeah, we do. Gaslighting.
Oh my god, we have so many fucking comments to look at. I'm so excited.
Start us off.
I have one that I want to do right away. How many buckets could be backlit if a bucket... Nope. Backlit bucket could be backlit. As many backlit buckets as a bucket could be backlit. If a backlit bucket could be backlit.
How many buckets could be backlit if a backlit bucket could be backlit? As many backlit buckets as a bucket could be backlit. You just... dick. Can't take the script away from me as I'm reading it. I've got it tattooed on my eyelids.
I am such a butt. Oh, I am such a butt.
Amazing.
Here's one from Nick. Oh my god, the big sin of the episode is that jettison portal gun out of the Shrike. Did anyone else see that? It was so fast, but I paused it, and you can see it says Daystrom Institute on it. Oh, confirmation! Daystrom Institute. I know, it's just confirmation about it. I mean, if there was ever a question.
It was a little bit dumb. Right.
Oh, and there was also, oh yeah, Picard. Saw the same thing. There was also a comment about something. Let me see if I pinned it. It was really cool. Here we go. This one is from KC5VKG, who says, am I the only one that noticed during the Star Trek flyby intro, in that 15-second intro thing, the Shrike is visible in the background after the ship finishes the logo.
There it is.
It's missing in this episode. It's actually in this episode. I saw it in this episode. I don't know if I can share my screen because...
no, Paramount won't let you.
Nope. Guys, it's right there. Can you see it?
It's right there in that black nebula.
Guys, can you see that?
Been in
Can't you see
episode, all of them, in all of the flybys.
The Shrike has been in all of them?
From episode 1, the Shrike has been hanging in the background. Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention it.
I never noticed it. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Good shit. Good shit.
That's fun. Well spotted.
Love it. Right, next question, Danae.
Do you want to do it?
Well, I'm staying in the live chat if you want to go through the start.
Okay. This was brought up by Rando Dave, and then I forgot to put it in my notes for the sins of the show, but I had it written down and deleted it on accident. So thank you, Rando Dave, for saying this. Hair loss is passed by the mother's genes anyway. Right?
Good point.
I thought about that when I was watching. I was like, why is he worried about his dad's his baldness? Because, and also it's the future. You have bald hair because you want it, right?
Yeah, come on. It could just be a choice. He could get it replaced if he wanted to. That was actually one of the reasons that Gene Roddenberry was reluctant to cast Picard. And originally, Picard, they put a wig on him for one of his screen tests. Because Gene Roddenberry thought it was unbelievable to have bald people in the future.
There you go.
And there you go.
There was a Slab was potentially not going to be able to watch the episode because he had internet connectivity issues. So here are some notes from Slab. 1, Shaw is healed. Why is Riker in command?
Because he's not healed. Slab, come on. He's fucking limping around the ship. And you just answered your own question. He's drugged. He is high on painkillers. He can't be in command.
But he's drugged. They don't have non-narcotic treatments for the pain in the future?
I think the definition of getting rid of pain is a narcotic.
Number 3, 7 just shoots Goopy McGoop once or twice and just stares at it while it escapes. Yes, we definitely covered that.
Totally agree.
4, why did not LaForge have to impersonate LaForge? Couldn't it just goop in there and kill them without needing the scene?
Yeah, agreed.
Good point.
Suffocate them with goop. Correct.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Shaw wasn't in like a tube. So I thought he was going to be like coming in the tube.
Yeah, I thought that it would be coming out of the circuits. Yeah, fuck it up that way.
Can you imagine?
So many ways. Oh, it'd be so gross. So gross. But the answer is we need the crew to survive.
Yeah. Here's a question from Link. Do any other Borgs get names?
The only ones that we know of are the Hugh collective Borgs. When Hugh disappeared and rejoined the ship, and then Lore found the ship, he started naming Borg. So we had Trosus and Croesus and like some other Latin names. They're the only ones that we know of. Other than XBs, like in Voyager.
Let's see. This one is a theory from Rando. My theory is that the babies were born as a result of those space jellyfish that Picard rescued in Farpoint, and so it was all Picard's fault anyway.
Exactly. This is all. The nebula is his fault. Everything is Picard's fault. Screw you, Picard. That's amazing.
Screw you, Picard.
It's right before we move on. Sab, he can still sit in a chair. That doesn't mean that if that's the only requirement to be captain, I am captain. I am the captain now. He's incapacitated.
I mean, like, wow.
Yeah.
Flyboy says, Riker and Picard, nice scene, and dissuaded me right off of the Riker is a changeling theory. Yeah, we got that. Got disproved this episode.
Oh, Rando Dave says the shifter wasn't sure if it could safely interrupt the process, hence the but we won't be able to warp question. So they had to go in there as a person to confirm that some of the repair had been completed.
Yes.
It's a good point. Very good point.
A very good point, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Number 6 from Slab was, 6. Did Shaw come into the holodeck from another entrance? This was a great question.
No, he was lurking. He was already in there, lurking in the corner.
Snuck in somehow? No, because
and those doors are noisy.
They activated it, which looked cool, by the way. I forgot to mention that. I thought that looked really cool. Like we were inside the holodeck, and then they opened the doors, and it was like.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was activated already, wasn't it? I don't know. Good point. Nick says, I thought the substitute for charm was the heartbreaking moment where you realize that Shaw's survivor's guilt rivals his own hatred for the Borg.
Yeah. And he knows he's broken. He knows he's out of line and he's kind of out of control. He should not be captain right now.
That was really hard.
Yeah.
Ugh, I like Shaw.
I love Shaw. He's so powerful. He's great.
Let's see. The cursing, on the topic of cursing, Nick says, I think people have a problem with it because Star Trek 4, Whales, made it canon that they don't curse anymore in the future. Kirk had to explain it to Spock, and they were all bad at it.
I think it was that they cursed less. It's going to be a tricky one to argue either way, but I think they curse less in the future. And when they went, it's more of a nod that in LA in the 1980s, there was a lot of cursing. I think it's all around them. But I'm doing a lot of work for the show there.
Let's see. Nick says apparently in Lower Decks there's an owl in the nebula. There you go.
Yeah, missing that reference, but I agree.
And Link wants to know who else on the Sins team is watching Picard.
So I know that Jonathan is watching it. I get a message each week that says, have you seen it yet? And I'm like, no, I have to wait until Friday. But he's very much enjoying it. Really, 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 really enjoying it. I can't remember if I don't think Aaron is keeping up at the minute. I know Jeremy wants to, but hasn't seen seasons 1 and 2 yet. I don't think Chris and Daniel are.
And I think that's all of the ones that I had pinned during the show.
Slab continues to argue with me, but he is wrong. So he can work on the engine and stuff, but can't command the ship. I'm calling triple shit on that one. Yes, it's desperate. It was a desperate act, and you just. I would say opening up the nacelles is different to commanding a ship of people, but you may argue with that as well. They kind of went him out of desperation.
This says, it's a perfect excuse for why Riker is the way that he is, but my sin is that this happened years ago. How is it only now that he and Troy are having problems?
It's because they haven't written this part of the story yet.
Listen, no, I'm gonna get on this one, Nick.
No,
Listen. You can have a problem in a relationship and stay together for a really long time, and then all of a sudden realize this is an unhealthy thing that we are doing, and decide not to be together anymore or to address that problem at later times.
Yeah.
I am speaking from personal experience.
Stuff doesn't always come to the surface straight away.
I thought that was a very accurate portrayal of a relationship, that maybe they just hadn't been dealing with it, and the best way to deal with it was for Riker to be like, I gotta go because I'm bothering the shit out of you. Yeah. And then he gets out there and he's like, oh, you know what? I want to figure this out. I'm ready to figure this out now. And that was a really kind of a cool thing between her and Troy, or he and Troy rather. I felt.
Totally agree. And who's to say they haven't been having problems and that it just came to a head and then Riker decided to leave? Well, we only saw a tiny snippet of them in season 1. I still love that.
Yeah. The idea that, like, we have a problem and that both people in the relationship are wanting to address it is just not how every relationship is. It hasn't been how my relationships have always been. So, I think it gives a different view on people who bury stuff and don't deal with it, and then it becomes a different kind of a problem, or
don't have the facilities to deal with it.
Yeah. So I get your point though. Maybe it feels a little bit forced. Maybe it feels a little bit storytellish, and we do have to do some work there. I'd like to go back and watch Picard season 1 and see if they kind of sprinkled in the idea of them having problems, because I think it was there.
I think
in a couple of scenes, I think it was there.
Yeah, I feel like, especially when Deanna is looking at Thad's bedroom, but also like Riker's putting on this big brave front as well, and the focus is very much on Daj or Soji, whichever one.
I really am not right about the kids showing up. Maybe they'll come. We still have some more episodes to go.
Oh, it's possible. It's possible.
Come on, kids. Where are you?
Right. That's it. Thank you, everybody. We love you for showing up. Thank you for being here.
Where are we being here?
Raiding to? Chris is planning on being back on Monday to play some more games. We are thinking it's going to be the Last of Us DLC Left Behind. So yeah, I'll confirm on Discord and Twitter and whatnot, but yeah, I'll pop it in the schedule when we know for certain. But yeah, that'll be that. Recotopia is at 11:30-ish on Tuesday. It's 11:30-ish Central. And then yeah, we'll be back next Friday.
I do not have a raid prepped. So I will tell you that like Moko is on right now, and we're trying to kind of find some more streamers that are on during this day. So maybe today, if you guys are on Twitch, all of you guys who are on Twitch right now, maybe you guys can give us some feedback about different people that you enjoy watching, and that way we can start to follow them a little bit more on this channel. Have a nice weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. Like Ian said, there's different places for you guys to connect with us. Ian and I are testing out a couple of games to possibly start streaming besides doing some Mario Kart.
And Minecraft,
So Minecraft, yeah. So we still have all those things in the future. But right now, all of our resources are diverted to Sin Week, which is coming up March 20th. So in 2 weeks, let's talk about that just super quick. In 2 weeks, we're going to be converging as a staff in Nashville, meeting up with some fans that purchased the Sin Week tickets to be there in person. But you can celebrate Sin Week from the comfort of your own home as well. If you are part of our Sin Club, which is on Patreon, it's patreon.com/cinemasins. We're releasing 3 Everything Wrong with videos just for our Sin Club members. In fact, we've been doing that on the Patreon platform now. So there's several videos that are only available for our Sin Club, including Ted, which I had to sin.
Yeah.
By the way,
Fighter.
I had to watch that movie and sin that movie.
Did.
That was an interesting experience.
You got a problem with swearing. Ted is not the movie for you.
And then, we've got all of the videos kind of ready to go. They've been written and produced. And then we also record our podcast in front of a live audience. So in addition to the extra videos that you guys are going to be able to enjoy that week, you'll be able to have access to links to watch live the taping of Captain's Pod, which will be at the Ryman. Is that right? Is it Ryman? No. I'm sorry. The Ryman is the one we went to.
The Ryman is the
That's
big,
a huge
big
one. No.
Huge cinema.
Jesus,
we're at the Belcourt.
We're not that big.
More
The
intimate
Belcourt
venue.
Thank you.
That Captain's Pod live show, if you want to watch it live and have access to it pretty much immediately, then yeah, join the Sin Club. However, it will be available a few months later. It will not be an episode of Picard. Your regular episode of Picard will still happen that week. We will still find a way to record it. There may not be a live show, but we will record a pod that week. The live show, for anybody that's there and who's going to be watching it, all you need to do for your homework is watch The Wrath of Khan. And I will say no more, but I would highly recommend watching Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, ahead of the live show, should you be watching it live or in person.
So that'll be Captain's Pod. We're also recording an episode of Behind the Sins podcast, which is currently on hiatus from regular production, but we will be producing an episode at Sin Week, and that will include obviously the live audience that's there in person and the online audience. And then Recotopia is also going to be producing a live show. So we're all going to be going to the movie theater together the previous evening and watching a ridiculous movie, and then sinning the shit out of it the following day. Just talking about it. Probably, but definitely sinning it.
Yeah,
we're going to have like a little sin bingo going on. And so that's all stuff that you guys can enjoy from the comfort of your own home, by the way. So even though you maybe can't join us in person, please consider going to patreon.com/cinemasins and check out all the stuff there. We release not only extra videos, but we have something called Cinmentary, which is the writers reviewing something that they've written and watching the video with you guys. We also have a bonus podcast that if you're at a certain tier, you can see the video of it, and you can hear the audio of it at other tiers. So there's just all kinds of stuff that's there. Ian has started producing a brand new series of narration flubs called Narration Ding, where you can listen to all the outtakes of Jeremy and Aaron going over their scripts. And the narration takes a lot of effort sometimes. And so we release those bloopers. So there's all kinds of stuff that we work on and more to come.
There's the next one for Jeremy's narration, the main channel Cinema Sins, is coming on the 15th, and there is one where he has to stop what he's doing, go and cuss out Aaron and send him a message for writing something that was so hard to say. It took so many takes. It's hilarious. It's one of my favorite Sin Club perks. I love it.
It's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun.
And so, yeah, those are all the things you guys can enjoy at patreon.com/cinemasins. And that's all coming on the week of the 20th. So that's in 2 weeks. So we are gearing up for that. And once we get on the other side of that, I'm hoping that Ian and I will have a little bit more of a gaming schedule lined out for enjoying you guys' time outside of podcasting here on Twitch and on YouTube. Again, thank you guys for watching on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And now that I've spent that much time talking, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys over to Brush for Hire because he's actively working on his miniature. So Brush for Hire is live every single day, Monday through Friday. And he is a miniature painter. He's an artist. And he's the very first person I ever watched on Twitch. And he is quirky and he is fun and he is kooky and he is unapologetically himself. He eats bananas like a maniac.
Does that mean he eats a lot of them or he eats them like a mad person?
Like a mad person. Listen, just get to know
sideways?
that group. It's a fun... you have to watch.
Okay.
He eats them like a fucking maniac. But Brush for Hire is one of my favorites. So enjoy that. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.